if you think about mentalization, which is basically the ability to think about and engage intentional psychological states in ourselves and other people, needs, goals, motivations, why people do what they do, why we do what we do. I think it's fair to say that you can just think of mentalization as being psychologically minded, really. It's a kind of fancy word, but really it means psychological mindedness, knowing that people have separate minds, knowing that feelings are temporary and can change, a kind of basic psychological mindedness, which really isn't so basic when you think about what goes into creating it.
Yeah, it's kind of the ability to observe our own experience.
Exactly. And so one of the things Peter Fonagy and his colleagues have demonstrated so beautifully is that in securely attached relationships, when the child's basic maturational needs are met, it reduces a certain kind of tension within the mind that lets other things become more interesting, like the child exploring the parent's mind, getting to know why is my mom doing that?
Mm-hmm.
You can't ask a question like that if you're cold and hungry, or if you're crying and not being attended to, right? Those primary developmental needs are so overwhelming for children. If they're not met, there's no higher level thinking and feeling.
You're trapped in the experience, in the experiential part of your mind. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you become embedded in the concrete, literal experience that you're having, and it's only through having those needs responded to. And modern psychoanalysis says something very similar, actually. Spotnitz talked about the critical way that the parent meets the child's needs so that other experiences can emerge and develop. Otherwise, you're trapped in your primitive deprivations, which is what modern psychoanalysis is very focused on. But attachment theory is very similar. Attachment theory talks more about the emotional dysregulation that happens in the development of the central nervous system and representations of self and other a little bit more explicitly. But the idea with mentalization is that you know what you're feeling, you know why you're feeling it, and you know what you want and where your feelings reside in your body. If you can answer all those questions, you're mentalizing at a pretty high level. But as we both know, when people get really upset, mentalization breaks down, and it breaks down into its primary components. And that's what we as clinicians need to be aware of and sensitive to, because our intervention should be shaped to match the developmental functioning of the patient in any given moment.